Boss Please. Hey guys, welcome to Boss Please. This is Malynda and I'm here with Meghan and Jillian.
Hello.
We have an absolutely incredible guest for you today. She is an entertainment publicist based out of here in Los Angeles. Her name is Heather Besignano. I still have to figure out how to pronounce her last name now that she's married. But before we get to her, we're just going to chat a little bit. So I want to know, how were you guys a boss this week? Meghan.
Well, I'm being a boss right now because my Patriots are playing and I am in my jersey and I'm super excited. It doesn't get more boss than Tom Brady. So when you follow the GOAT, it's just, you're a boss.
Don't get between a girl and her Patriots.
Yeah, so Malynda doesn't watch football.
I don't.
I'm a Giants fan, which is a rival team of the Patriots.
And Jill is sitting next to me right now, girl, so you better watch yourself.
So I'm technically the ref right now.
Yeah,
You are.
basically.
Yeah, you know.
But honestly, like, we the best.
You're fine.
We're the best. Okay.
All right,
We're all
Jillian.
started.
How are you a boss this week?
Let's see. So I have been trying really hard to eat better and just to be better. So I meal prepped this week.
Ooh.
I
Yes,
spent
girl.
my Sunday chopping, dicing, slicing, cooking up some great things, and hopefully it will set me on track for an amazing week. At least that's what I'm hoping.
I need you to do more documenting when you're doing these because when you do snaps, when you're cooking, or I like live for that. You are so good.
Meal prepping does really help, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
does.
It's
Like,
just,
especially when you're a boss and you're busy. Like, my work schedule is nuts, and sometimes I leave the house at 4:30 in the morning, and I don't get home until 6:30 at night, and the last thing I want to do is cook.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
if we're going to be honest, like, I would rather just, like, there are so many times where I don't meal prep, and I'll go into the cabinet and just get a bowl of cereal or eat mindlessly. Like, I've had, like, you know, potato chips for dinner. You know, you try to just, like, be better. Like, I feel like I'm about to be 29.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be feeling myself more. And it's just important. I don't know. Taking care of yourself is really important.
Girl, that's
So-
awesome.
See, I just wouldn't eat. Like, I have time to eat,
But
I'm
then
not
you
going
get
to.
hangry, and then
You
you, just,
do.
it's being hangry is
But
the
I feel
worst.
like by the time I get home, it's like that point where you're so hungry that you just don't even want to eat anymore.
No,
you
you're
know?
right. I've been there. And then I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning
And then
with my
you're like-
stomach growling and I'm nauseous to the point of puking. And I come down here and eat a banana or granola bar
Yeah.
by myself, sad in the dark.
Have you
That's not
ever,
fun.
like, I have a confession right now.
Okay.
So I used to do this in college, and I've actually been doing it the last couple weeks. Do you guys ever sleep eat?
No, but I know a friend in college that did that.
I used to wake up in college, like if I was prepping for a test, with like Pop-Tart wrappers on me and crumbs. Like, and I never sleepwalk, but I used to wake up and go to the kitchen and eat and not remember and wake up with the food. Like,
No, I had a friend in college that did that. He woke up and had like a can of frosting empty.
yeah.
Oh
no,
my God.
So
Wait, I am
crazy?
like, so wait, what's been on the menu?
So I've been doing that the past couple weeks, and thankfully I don't eat Pop-Tarts anymore because
But you
I'm
don't
not
know what you're eating?
a fetus. But no, I eat Nutri-Grain bars in the middle of the night because that's like the only snackable thing I really have, and I go to the cabinet and I like eat that.
But you're asleep.
Basically,
Kind
like a
of.
part of me remembers when I
That's
see it,
crazy.
and
That's
then but when
insane.
I'm doing it, it doesn't register that like Megan, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
get your life together.
Girl, you need to get me over there. I'll meal prep you some
That's
yogurt
so
and berries.
funny.
I know, but I think it's
Wow.
not because I'm hungry. I think it's because I'm stressed. When I'm stressed, this is my body's reaction,
Right.
and it's like so weird and
Right.
kind of hysterical, but also like get it together.
So you eat when you're stressed, but what about like if you're sad or upset? Do you not eat?
Correct.
Interesting.
Correct.
I just eat all the time.
I mean, it's not like something I plan. I mean,
Right, of
I
course.
always want to
Of
eat, but like
course.
sometimes you can't help the way your stomach
Right.
feels when you're just like going through it.
Damn.
Yeah. How are
Well,
you?
yeah.
Okay, so as you all know, I work for myself, so I get to make my own schedule, but that sometimes means that my schedule is a little crazy. So I was a boss this week because not only did I have multiple meetings and, you know, had to do quotes for clients, but then I had a gig at midnight.
Oh my god.
So wait, you did a full day.
I did a full work day, and then I went and sang my butt off at midnight.
So how do you do that?
I don't know. I take a nap. I do. I highly recommend naps in your adult years.
Do you?
Highly recommend
Like, how
naps.
long?
I really can't do more than an hour.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
same.
Otherwise, I'll start to feel groggy, and I may as well just go to sleep because I don't want to wake up and feel like a bobblehead.
Exactly.
I feel like we should start asking guests about power naps because I am very anti-nap because I am
So is my
actually
husband.
more tired.
Same.
after I take them. So I will power through until I can lay my head on the pillow for like 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah. See, I don't even consider it a nap because I don't even think I really fall asleep, but it's just like laying down on the couch and doing nothing.
You need to give your body
recharge,
rest.
yeah.
You totally need to recharge.
For sure.
And sometimes just doing that is enough without having to actually fall asleep. But girl, I don't know how you do it because I know Jill's a grandma. I'm a semi-grandma.
I am too, but it's such an amazing gig that like
that's awesome.
Just have to
That is so fun. Is it always a great turnout? Like always a ton of people?
Awesome. Yeah. What's just so funny, I'm like, do none of y'all work? You're
But
all out here on a Thursday night.
Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah.
People are just living it.
Yeah,
That's
for some
awesome.
people, I'm in bed by 8:30.
I wish I would be.
Jill texted me last night. She's like, here's what you needed, but I'm getting ready to go to bed. I like, look at the text and it's like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Chill.
So funny.
I love
Listen,
it.
you know,
But
you
she
gotta
gets
make
up
it
early.
work.
You
Gotta make it
so
work when you're a
early.
boss.
You do.
So, let's get into some real talk.
All right.
Your first rejection, or a rejection that really stings to this day in your professional life. I know I have mine.
Yeah.
Megan?
Like, I think my life is rejection. Like, you look up Meghan Lamontagne in the dictionary, it equals... No, I'm just kidding.
Girl.
But listen. Without the rejection, we wouldn't be the bosses that we are because we needed to learn from the rejection.
For sure.
But they do sting. Each rejection stings. I think for me, my first bout of rejection, I was always such a, like, straight A student, always, like, top of my class. So I didn't really experience a lot of rejection in high school. But then when I set the bar really high, my SAT scores weren't great. My grades were great. But because of that, I set the bar really high for college. My guidance counselors were like, Megan, you need to set the bar lower because your SAT scores aren't equaling where you want to go to school. And I was like, oh, hell no. No one's going to tell me where I can and cannot apply. Like, watch me show them. Well, rejection after rejection after rejection. It's like, man, maybe they were right. However, I did not give up. I think I must have applied to like 20-something schools. I swear you not. Is that a thing? I don't know why. I just made that up. But, and then one day I remember my mom came in the house and she was like, Meghan Lamontagne, get down here right now. And I was like, oh gosh, I really must have messed up. So I go and I see her standing at the bottom of the stairs and she had the big envelope to Purdue University. And I immediately just started bawling because I think kids get emails now, but back in the day, buffet, we used to get, in the mail.
Yeah,
so
you got the packet.
Exactly. So you knew when you got the big envelope that you were in. And I was so excited. It just felt so good after all of those rejections that I stuck to my guns and I knew that I deserved better and I just kept going. And that's, I swear, what began this whole definition of me being a girl boss.
Yeah.
I love
Good
that.
for you. That's amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Good for you.
But then I ended up transferring to Emerson.
So it didn't even matter anyway.
That's where I met Jill. No, I don't regret. No, that's a whole nother story. But Purdue and Emerson belonged in my life both equally, and I'm happy with the way things turned out. But okay.
Well, cool. I remember my first, it kind of still stings to this day because it was really the first time that someone, I don't know, it was my first time applying for a real job post-college. And it was with E! And I was super excited because I had interned there, and that was sort of the dream job. And it was a writing position in their New York bureau. At the time, I was living in New Jersey with my parents. And I must have went through 5 or 6 interviews and writing tests and all of these things. And this happened over like a month-and-a-half period. So they were keeping me on the line for a really long time. And then they actually had me come into the city to meet with the executives of the company. And they were asking me all of these questions that were kind of really pointed at my age and how green I was. And now, as a manager for a company, I know that that was ageism and that was wrong and that they shouldn't have used my years against me. But unfortunately, it said on my resume that I graduated in 2011. It was 2011, so I was fresh out of school. And they just really ultimately thought that I was a little too inexperienced for the job. Well, boy, did I show them.
Good for
you. It was the catalyst to me, deciding, okay, so I'm going to take this next year for myself. I'm going to save up as much money as I can, and I'm going to move to Los Angeles, and I'm going to get that entertainment business job that I've always wanted. And that's how really I landed the job at Perez, just from all of that experience. And I sort of love when people tell me no.
Totally.
I kind of like, I don't do drugs, but I like get high off of it a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just like that feeling like, it's like, are you kidding? Like the same feeling that you had where it's like, you know, you get all of these rejections and it's sort of just driving you to move forward. So I like rejection because it keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I will say
For
that.
sure.
It fuels the
pushes
fire.
you.
Yeah.
For sure.
It really does.
What about you, Malynda?
I've been, as you guys were talking, I was thinking, I'm like, God, I feel like I have so many examples. But, so I actually have one. Megan knows about this, but you actually don't know this. So a few years ago, I did a lot of musical theater. Like, I'm in the union and everything, and I hadn't auditioned for a show since I lived in Chicago. But I saw that a theater, I'm not going to say their name, was doing American Idiot. And do you remember the story, Megan? Yeah.
I totally do.
And so I went to the audition, and I got called back. So at this point, we're in 3 callbacks. And at the same time, I got notification that I was chosen to do an ASCAP showcase. If you don't know what ASCAP is, it's what singer-songwriters, how you register all your material that you write so you can get your royalties and everything. And so the day of the showcase was opening night for what the show was
getting
supposed to be.
anxiety because I totally remember you telling me this story. It's all coming back.
Yeah. And so I had to make a decision. Okay, do I take the chance that I'm going to get this part, or do I just do the showcase, which is guaranteed? So I emailed the casting director and I let her know, and she was like, we really love you for this part. Please come to the final callback. We really love your work. So I went in, I did the final callback, and I'm not really the type of person that listens to people before me, but I was listening to people before me in the callback, and I was like, I think I have this. Like, I can tell my voice fits this part better. So I went in, I sang the songs. The director was like, God, I could listen to you sing these songs all day. I was like, I have this, right? Day goes by. Next day goes by. 3 days go by. I go on Twitter and I see that the girl that sang before me, who I was like, there's no way she's getting this part, booked it. And so I had already told the ASCAP showcase that I wasn't going to do it. So I missed out on 2 opportunities because of this. I know.
I totally remember this story.
So I don't even know if there's a moral to this story, but it was very frustrating because I felt like I was led on. And I trusted that I was going to get this. I really, really did, and I felt so good about it, and I missed it on 2 opportunities basically because of it.
How did you move past it though?
I was definitely in a funk for a couple of days. I'm not gonna lie, but I moved past it by like, I ain't auditioning for them again. That's how I moved past it.
Exactly. That's what you gotta do.
And other opportunities obviously have come since then and have been even greater. So it just wasn't meant to be. But it was very frustrating. It was a big loss. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because it's like, one rejection because you didn't get the part, but a double rejection because, of course, when it rains, it pours. Doesn't that always happen?
Yeah.
When it rains, it pours. There's always multiple opportunities.
Right.
And you almost have to follow your intuition. But, something in me says that choice happened for a reason. And maybe the showcase would have ended in an upset too.
Anyway, you never know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and then you would have been thinking, oh, maybe I would have gotten that part. And so it's just, it's one of those things.
It's tough. It's
one of those things. But you know what? Your boss, because you didn't let it get you down.
Yeah.
You're still doing your thing. And that's basically what makes us and you guys
Bosses.
you and us.
Yeah.
Well, we have a super exciting show for you guys today.
Yeah, she's the definition of a female boss. We have Miss Heather Weiss, and she is the vice president of a PR firm. She works with a lot of stars, and we're excited to hear her knowledge in being a female boss.
Yeah, so we'll be right back, guys.
Welcome back, bosses. We are here with amazing special guest, Heather Besignano. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Yes, I was hoping I would. Amazing girl boss. Also, an incredible publicist. You deal with like musicians and actors, and also you've headed campaigns for the Oscars, the SAG Awards, the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice Awards, Grammys, and the Emmys, and I'm sure the list goes on. All while being a new wife, and also you've done some charity work too.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, maybe it's what don't you do?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
that's another question.
Man.
Yeah, I don't do a personal life.
Okay. Well, there's the secret ingredient.
No, I'm kidding. I find a nice balance. Yeah, I do all of the things that you said. I also work with some authors. That's really fun for me because I'm a big book nerd. And yeah, I've done Oscar campaigns for actors. I've done, like you said, Grammy campaigns for musicians. Those are some of my favorite things to do because you get to kind of watch somebody's career grow while you're doing it. Whether they win or not, that's always a really exciting time during someone's career. So those are some of my favorites.
That's awesome.
amazing.
What's a day in the life of a publicist? Kind of walk us through what you do. Because it's interesting. I don't know a lot about the field.
A lot of people don't know what we do.
They do everything.
Yeah. We are therapists and travel agents. And so basically my main role is to get press for people, right? So anytime you see somebody that's on a magazine cover, on a talk show, doing a podcast, doing a radio interview, online interview, etc., that's all booked by a publicist. So basically get them exposure for whatever project it is that they're working on. A typical day, there isn't really one. I mean, technically my office hours are 9 to 6, but that never happens. I always tell people when they, are interning or a brand new assistant, like, okay, so you want to be a publicist. You do realize that this is not a 9 to 5 job. You will not be checking out whenever the sun goes down. This is like a 24/7 job. So, I wake up in the morning, I check my emails, make sure there's no fires to put out. Being on the West Coast, we're usually a little behind already from London and New York. And then my day can consist of everything from being in the office to, pitching out those clients to the various media outlets, to running around with them to the appearances, covering them on red carpets, covering them at photo shoots, and just overall hand-holding and making sure that everybody's taken care of.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's nuts. to
Sounds
me.
stressful.
It's stressful, but you are so composed and you're so beautiful, and it's like, man, like you just got it all, girl. You're killing
She's
it.
the definition of a boss. for
Literally,
sure.
I'm so excited to have
Absolutely.
her here.
Since it's such a high-stress job, what made you want to get into it, the field?
To be honest, I did not know that this is what was going to happen in my life.
I feel like a lot of bosses, they are that way.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a certain idea for themselves,
Yeah.
and then it ends up going down a different street.
Yeah, when I moved to California from Houston, I really didn't know what I was coming out here for. And I just kind of wanted to work in the music industry, to be honest. And that was 10 years ago. This month is my 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
Anniversary.
Yes. And, all of the record labels were folding at the time. And people were like, yeah, not a great idea to get a job with the label because you could be without a job pretty quickly.
Right.
I had no clue what I was doing out here. And I sent my resume to somebody I'd met. And she was like, yeah, I think you'd be good in publicity. I think you have the personality for it. Send your resume. And I was like, okay, it has like bartending on it. I have no experience whatsoever. I don't know what it is that you do. And I got hired as an assistant to the CEO of the company that I'm at. And it just kind of unfolded from there, I guess. Being good at English helped. You do a lot of writing. And the personality, I guess, did work. And now I'm the COO of that company.
That's amazing.
amazing.
Congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Very cool.
Talk about climbing that ladder a little bit in the industry as
It
a
was
female.
hard. It's still hard as a female. I mean, that does not change, I don't think. Females are very supportive of one another, but there also can be very
competitive.
very competitive.
Yeah.
So, you find your friends in the industry, but sometimes you still find yourself competing with those friends, and that can be very difficult. It's not an easy industry to work your way up in, no matter what area of it you are in.
Right.
And you have to put in a lot of hours of doing the work that nobody else wants to do, and, working for very little pay for a very long time. And you kind of just have to suffer through it if that's what you want to do. And I think ultimately, after many, many months, 2 years of me going home crying and being like, why am I doing this? I'm eating ramen noodles and my family's in Texas and this just sucks.
Yeah.
It started to get better. I started traveling. I started finding my own clients and my own niches in which I worked in. And that kind of led to being where I am today. And you know, I found people along the way who helped me, you know, other females, like we said, that wanted to take me under their wing and say like, oh, I want you to meet this manager, or, you know, let me teach you how to do this type of campaign. And that was so inspiring. Amy Van Eyden, who works with us now, she's been in this industry for years, and she's such a wonderful person and a mentor to me. She is so giving and like wants everybody around her to grow, and I just love her. And like that's what I aspire to be for the people underneath me, is to be able to help people flourish rather than hold them down, you know.
It's amazing. Yeah.
When you were just talking about the struggle, I can really resonate with that.
Yeah.
And the whole ramen noodle thing, I get it. But during that time, because obviously you said it got better, what helped you through? What kept you saying, I know it's going to get better? Was there someone, or was there kind of something that shifted in your mind? Was it positive thinking?
I think it was a mixture of all of that. You know, my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, he was a big help through it. You know, he was very positive in my life and was always like, no, you know what? I know you're tired, but we should go to this event tonight because you never know who you're going to meet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And like, you should do this. And, you know, I would call home to my mom and she'd be like, well, you know, you can quit if you want to, but like, what else are you going to do? You moved all the way out there, you know?
Right.
And it was like people like that. And then when I, you know, will talk to my friends back home that say things to me like, oh my God, you're my biggest inspiration. Look what you did. Like, even when I didn't think I was doing that well, and I still don't think I'm always doing that well, that helps,
Right.
you know?
Absolutely.
And then there was just something inside of me that was like, I am not giving up. Like, the more people told me I couldn't do it, the more I was like, oh, yes, I can.
Yeah.
I'm definitely seeing a girl boss trend here with
Yes.
some past interviews we've
Yeah.
had, and you
Yeah.
like, it's just, that is the trend. It's like the more people tell you no, the more
It
the
fuels
fire
the fire
gets
for
lit,
you.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure.
and you just keep going, and that's amazing. Really incredible.
We all love proving people wrong.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the best thing to do.
I want to ask you something else too. Just, this is a little sidetrack, but we'll get back to like career stuff. How did you land such an amazing guy out here in
Oh my
LA?
God.
Sister, teach me your ways, because
That-
the struggle.
Megan's the
me
single
tell
one of the group. Yeah.
Okay, so I was single and I did not want a boyfriend at all. And I was kind of like dating for dinner. Remember ramen noodles? And when guys would ask me out, I'd be like, is this dinner? And are you paying?
It's like you're in my
I
mind.
love that. Oh
And
my
like,
gosh.
No, we won't hang out at your house and Netflix and chill.
Yes.
I want to eat food.
Yeah, I want a meal.
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
And so the funniest thing was I was on a date that was like a setup that was not going well at all. And he asked if he could invite some friends, and they brought their roommate, and the roommate was now my husband.
Oh my
I
gosh.
love it.
So it was totally off
Wow.
chance. And like the first few months I still was like not having it. I was like, okay, you're cool to hang out with, whatever, but like I don't want a boyfriend. And then it just
Yeah.
kind of, he never went away.
I love that.
That's a great
I love that.
story.
That is
Yeah.
so, okay, it gives me hope. Thank you
Heather
for
out
sharing
there.
that. I'll just keep hoping.
So-
Keep one swipe away on that Bumble, guys.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
very
hard for
much
you
so.
guys now. I'm like,
I have no idea how.
No.
Me
Oh,
neither.
date
I never
at
had
all.
to do that.
Yeah.
if I was
So-
single now, I think I'd just be like, forget it.
Just stay
It's
single,
over.
right?
That's right.
Same. Yeah.
That's basically my
Yeah.
Well, let's stay on the theme of rejection. So we earlier in the show had talked about sort of a really massive professional rejection that kind of is still with us today, that still burns a little bit, and how you overcame it. So do you have one sort of rejection in your mind that you can think back on and sort of how you learned from it?
I'm trying to think what stands out the most. I mean, I think something that bothered me a lot when I was earlier on in my career that doesn't bother me as much now was, you know, when you get your hopes up about signing a new shiny client and you're really excited about their project and you know, spend 2 hours talking to them in a meeting and you think, God, that went so great and I'm going to get this client for sure. And especially when you're first doing it and you're building your roster and you're like, this, if I sign this person, more will come. It's the field of dreams client. Like, I'm going to get it.
Right.
And then you even hear from the manager like, oh, they loved you. It's a done deal. They have one more meeting. Don't worry. And then you get the phone call, oh,
We
you know,
lost
they
someone
went with
else.
the other person.
Yeah.
That was always so soul crushing for me, you know. And I think the first time I got fired by a client was really hard too, because you were like, what? I put in all of this time and effort for like 3.5 years working with you, and you're firing me over something that is like not even my fault. Over time though, I just learned to be like, you know what? You can't, like, people are going to come and go, and like you just do the best that you can do. And if they sign with you, they do. If they fire you, they do. And it is what it is, you know?
That's got to be hard though. I never thought of it from that point of view. Like, as a publicist, you know, you are helping to build their career. The difference with an agent and a manager, the talent almost has to hustle to always email agents and managers, be like, hey, what do you have for me today? What do you have for me today?
Are you gonna send me out this week?
Opposite with you. You are like the mama bear. You are like building them up, and then for them to just be like, thanks for everything. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
It does. And I think more so with certain clients than others. Like I said, ones that you have long-term relationships with. As a publicist, you get really close to your clients. They tell you everything. You spend so much time with them because you're the one that's always, like I said, photo shoots, red carpets. You travel with them. Like, you get to know every little dark secret, every little good thing about them. So when one day something just sets them off and they decide, you know what, I think this place is going to be a better fit for me, you're just like, what?
Yeah.
It's like going through a breakup,
Totally.
honestly.
Oh, for sure.
Totally. Wow.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about a moment where it solidified in my mind that you were an amazing girl boss. Because I had worked with you on booking some clients for another podcast, so we kind of had an email relationship. And your client was Christina Grimmie, who was murdered at her concert in Florida over a year ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So I can't even imagine, you know, you just talked about how you're so close to your clients and how they almost are family members. And to wake up and to hear that news, and then to realize that you are the front line to press and to all of these things, and you're going through it emotionally, but now you have to answer people. What was that like for you?
That was one of the most trying times of my life, I will have to say. There has never been a time in my life more that I wanted to be as far away from this job as possible.
Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing. My husband was actually playing a show at the Troubadour when I found out that she'd been shot, and we did not know where or how, or that she wasn't going to live or anything at that point. And it's Friday night, and before I even know further information, I have CNN texting me. Not emailing, texting my personal cell phone. We have reports about Christina Grimmie in the ICU. Can you give us information? My phone started blowing up. And it was like you said, like, I was very close to her. We were personal friends outside of, you know, me just repping her. I worked with her for several years, and it was like you don't even have a moment to kind of grieve and think about that at that time. You kind of just kick into survival mode, basically. Like, okay, like, instead of like cry, I mean, I cried immediately, obviously, but instead of like going home and curling up in a ball, I had to like get on the phone with her manager and send out a press release of a statement from her family and her team, you know. And then through the entire time of, you know, figuring out funeral arrangements and flying to New Jersey and going through all of that, I was having to field, you know, phone calls and emails from people wanting to know, to me, like, discuss, like, I understand the media, I understand what they have to do, but I was like, I don't need you to call me, you know, I won't name names, but specific outlet and ask me where her body's going to be, you know, like, I don't, like, I will offer the information if we want this to be public knowledge, you know. And I had to do all of that. Meanwhile, let's see, in that, I already had my bridal shower that following weekend. My husband was in one of our close friends' wedding that weekend. So basically, I flew from LA to New Jersey, back to San Diego for a wedding, back to New York to cover a client on a press trip, and then to Houston for my bridal shower. So I had to keep it together through all of that before I finally had a mental breakdown. called and was
my
like,
gosh.
oh my God, what has just happened in my life?
And not to mention, like, you're doing this stuff for Christina for your job, but you also have other clients.
Yeah.
And like I said in the beginning, you answered my email, my little, almost like little peon email, just asking about another client, like, hey, just following up on this. And you had the courtesy to get back to me and to let me know what was going on. And I just thought that just like oozed professionalism to me. It just really was like empowering, because as soon as I got it, and you know, it was a very brief email, but you explained the situation very concisely, and I just thought, like, wow, what a woman.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that's incredible.
that's really what I thought. And I was really excited when we decided to book you, because it's been something that I've been wondering for so long, and I feel like a lot of women can benefit from your strength.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, the show must go on, right? No matter what it is that you do. And I've always kind of been the type of personality that whatever bad things happen in your life, you know, you shouldn't allow them to kind of overtake your entire world. If you just let yourself crumble, then you're putting yourself in a place where everything else in your life is going to crumble, you know, and you're going to see the repercussions of that for weeks, months, years to come. So you got to like pull it together, have your moments when you have your breakdowns, go to therapy if you need to, go see some friends, whatever it is you need to do, but like do your best to just kind of keep with your day-to-day activities so that you can get through to the next thing, you know?
Strength.
Yeah,
That's what that is.
absolutely.
I got chills that whole time, man.
I know,
Respect.
because most people don't know that side of things. And it's very, it's like, you know, it's just a lot. And to have to balance, you know, everyone goes through stuff. I feel like we can all relate on some level, not specifics, but just, you know, we do have to keep on and carry on. Always.
Yeah.
Always. And people don't know what's going on with you. And I think that it really just shows just the power of a female and how much we can handle.
I don't think men can handle it.
No.
that way.
Oh, no, not at all.
No, if that was a male,
To be able to
they'd
do
be
as much as
losing
you
their
just said
mind.
you had to do during that time, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I think my first thought process was just like, she might physically not be here, but it's still my job to protect her over everything else.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, a man couldn't do all that. Sorry, dudes.
No. That's so funny. I did want to ask you, it's funny because my next follow-up question is like going back to your husband. Like, I think it is incredible though. You guys seem like such an amazing team, and tell me about the importance of having a good support system and good people around you to help you get through, especially such a stressful job.
I mean, it's everything, because at the end of the day, those are the people that you come home to or you choose to spend your time with, you know? And like I said earlier, he's always been so super supportive. He's never, you know, some of my clients are guys. I have to travel with them around the world. Never once has he been like, ugh, you're going away for 3 days with a dude. Why were you out till midnight at a red carpet with this guy? You know, he's always like, great, see you when you get back, you know, whatever you got into. And that's so important, whether it's your significant other or your friends. Like, people have to do better at building each other up.
Yes.
You know?
Totally.
Amen to that.
I love that. And I'm glad we just heard that. I'm glad you guys just heard that, because it's so important not to settle and to know what you deserve and to know your worth. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Warms my heart. It does. It really does. I don't know. Like, it really is all about the people that you surround yourself with. But I wonder with, you know, all of that, it's great to have people that you're with and that support you, but how do you support yourself? You know, what do you do to make sure that you have self-care and self-love through all the stress?
Yeah, I was going to ask, how often do you take time for yourself?
More now. You know, I'm 35. When I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I was way more of a workaholic than I am now, if that's even a thing, and was, you know, working myself to the point that I was sick, you know, to like, I remember one time it was a Saturday and my husband used to work at a nightclub. So I was like, I'm not going out. I'll just answer emails that I need to catch up on. And a manager emailed me back at like 11 p.m. on a Saturday and was like, is this coming in at real time? She was like, dude, get a life. What are you doing?
Gosh.
Stop.
Yeah.
And I had to, it literally came to a point where I had like high blood pressure to, I was getting sick and I was getting in the hospital, and I had to have like a mental check with myself of like, okay, yes, what you do is important and your clients are important and you want to do the best for them, but you still have to do the best for yourself.
Of course.
And so I kind of made rules for myself of like, you know, when you go on a vacation, okay, sure, check your emails, but like let your clients know you are on a vacation. And if it's not something that's urgent, just give me a second, you know? And, you know, after a certain time in the evening, I kind of, you know, I'll scroll through my emails to make sure that there's nothing urgent. But if somebody's emailing me about something that's happening 3 days from now, I don't need to respond at 10 o'clock at night. Like, let me watch my MasterChef reruns and like get on with it, you know? That's kind of what I do. And like, you know, I made sure that I make time for friends and make time for massages and just, you just have to. You have to work
mental
it in.
health for sure.
Oh gosh, so much.
You can't be full boss if you don't take care of yourself.
True.
Totally.
It's true.
It really is important. Yeah. Well, this has been awesome.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we loved having
I
you.
learned so much. Thank you.
Your story is amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Where can people go to look you up? Are you on social media?
I am.
Do you want to share with us?
Sure. Well, if you want to check out my company, we are E2W Collective, like the number 2. And I'm on Instagram as Hardcore Hiz. That's Hiz. Don't even ask.
Sounds boss to me.
I know, it sounds
love
very
it.
boss.
And on Twitter, I'm Heather L. Weiss, which was my maiden name.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, go follow her, you guys.
Yes.
And we are all very inspired. Thank you so much for joining us.
Heather.
Thank you for having me.
And we will see you guys next week.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Boss Please Pod. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Navigate the path to your best self with us, because bossing together is always better.